Today, Bitcoin falls below the $90,000 level to end the week, and Blockchain Association CEO Summer Mersinger previews the policy summit, which kicks off on Monday. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Mackenzie Sigalos. Crypto prices are in the red to end the week. In contrast with the S&P 500, which actually rose as traders digested inflation data that could inform the Fed's upcoming rate decision. Now, as of noon Eastern, Bitcoin traded below 90K once again after spending the past 3 days above that level. Ether dropped nearly 4.5%, and XRP fell more than 5%. For the week, Bitcoin is 2.5% lower, experiencing its fifth weekly loss in the past 6. Ether dropped less than 1% for the week, and XRP, it is lower by 7% for its fourth weekly loss in the past 5. Today's moves lower came as the crypto market sorted through a fresh slate of economic releases. Now, that includes the Commerce Department's core PCE price index for September, which is a key inflation read for the Fed. Now, the report, which was delayed due to the government shutdown, showed an annual rate of 2.8%. That is lower than the 2.9% Dow Jones estimate. Core PCE's 0.2% rise on the month was in line with expectations. The data is the final view into inflation before the Fed's Wednesday rate vote. And real quick, focusing on BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF, IBIT saw net outflows in November of $2.69 billion. That is its largest monthly outflow since inception. Taking a quick look at a crypto headline, prosecutors are recommending a 12-year prison sentence for Terraform Labs founder Do Kwon. Now, as a reminder, Terraform is the company behind the failed algorithmic stablecoin UST. The recommendation from prosecutors is more than double what Kwon's team argued for. In November, lawyers for Kwon asked the judge for a sentence of no more than 5 years. Kwon pleaded guilty to fraud charges back in August, following a lengthy process to get him extradited to the U.S. from Montenegro late last year. His sentencing is scheduled for Thursday. All right, for our main story, the Blockchain Association Policy Summit kicks off in D.C. on Monday, featuring discussions with policymakers, regulators, and industry leaders. I spoke with the association's CEO, Summer Mersinger, about what to expect. She's a former CFTC commissioner as well, so we also discussed her take on the commission's role in regulating crypto. So the Blockchain Association's Policy Summit kicks off in DC on Monday, and it's a very different environment this year compared to a year ago. Crypto regulation has come a long way since then. So my question to you is, what does the plan look like for this year's event? Is this a victory lap, or is it more of a push for more rulemaking from the lawmakers who will be attending?
Well, this year is going to be a record-breaking year for the Blockchain Association. We have the largest attendance that we've ever had on record. We have probably the highest caliber speakers that we've ever seen at this summit. And we are actually the largest our membership has ever been. We are now at 146 members. So it is a very big year for the Blockchain Association. We're going to be very focused on federal legislation around market structure for digital asset markets, tax modernization, and regulatory clarity. All of these will be very important to the industry, especially as the president has said, we are going to become the crypto capital of the world.
I want your take on the change in speakers you're seeing at the event this year. You have a lot of newcomers to Washington in attendance, like Republican Senator Bernie Moreno of Ohio and Democratic Senator Angela Also Brooks of Maryland. You also have a lot of House leaders from both sides of the aisle. What has the conversation been like getting these lawmakers to come to this event? And what's your take on just how crypto-friendly the current makeup of Congress is?
Everyone's been very excited. We have had great response to our invitations, and we have, as you mentioned, a lot of new members coming, some that have been there from the past who are coming to give us updates, number of House members. I'm most excited that my former boss, Majority Leader John Thune, is going to be giving an exclusive fireside chat for our members during the first day of the summit. So it's been a lot of enthusiasm. There's bipartisan support for the industry, and we are really seeing that reflected in this year's Policy Summit numbers.
We're still awaiting progress on that market structure legislation in the Senate. There was originally calls for this to get done before the end of 2025, but given the government shutdown, things are taking longer than the crypto industry initially hoped. Where do you see progress on market structure right now? And what are the conversations you're having behind closed doors with some of the speakers who will be at the summit?
Yeah, progress is still going. There's a lot of bipartisan discussions that are taking place. These are very important discussions. It's how we're going to get a bipartisan bill out of both the Senate Banking and the Senate Agriculture committees. These discussions are going on every day. We are talking with staff for both of those committees, going through some of the legislative text changes that they are proposing, trying to make sure we get to the best place for industry and to have the appropriate bipartisan support needed to get this through the Senate and back over to the House of Representatives. So there's a lot of progress going on. It's behind doors, but that's a good thing. We want those teams negotiating, talking to each other, and making sure we have a strong bipartisan bill coming out of these committees.
Now, if market structure doesn't get done this year, are you confident we'll see progress in Q1 of 2026, or is there the potential for it to get delayed for a longer time to come? I mean, there is a risk of another government shutdown at the end of January, and the midterms are next year, which could pull lawmakers' attention away. So what do you see happening to market structure regulation if it doesn't get across the finish line in 2026?
I actually think that 2026 is when we'll see it get across the finish line. These things take time. Legislation doesn't usually come together quickly, and especially if you have bipartisan legislation. So I think that the members of the two committees are going to keep working together throughout the end of 2025 and into 26, when we will see legislation hit the Senate floor. There are a lot of things that could slow it down a little bit. To your point, the funding, potential government shutdown, but this issue is so important and there's so much bipartisan support. I really think that this will be a priority for Congress in 2026.
Now, speaking of midterms, crypto played a huge role in the 2024 election as the industry funded races up and down the ballot across the country. How do you see crypto being involved in the midterms this go around, and how will the Blockchain Association be involved?
Our goal is to continue getting members elected to the House and the Senate who are crypto friendly. These are bipartisan efforts. We don't pick one party over the other. We try to stick with who we know is going to be the best on our issues. And there's a lot of new crypto champions out there who are running for office, who are already in office, and we're going to give them the support that they need to be successful in the midterms.
I feel like last cycle, there was a blockbuster amount of spending and support that was poured into those elections to elect the most pro-crypto Congress we've seen in American history. You also saw a pro-crypto president elected. So will we see as strong a push this go around?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we can't rest on our laurels. We've got to keep pushing ahead. And there are a number of seats where we want to make sure we get the right member in those chairs in Congress. And so we're going to really focus on finding pro-crypto candidates, putting our support behind them, and growing this pro-crypto Congress to be even broader than it is right now.
I mean, part of the efforts in 2024 had a lot to do with voting out people who were anti-crypto. So do you have any targets in terms of people you would no longer like to see on Capitol Hill? Tell me about a Senate or House race where you feel very strongly that there is a pro-crypto candidate that you would like to see take over next year in the midterm cycle. I'd love to hear an example.
Yeah, there's, trying to remember the congressional districts here, but certainly in Massachusetts, there's some pro-crypto members of Congress who are running. A pro-crypto member of Congress is going to run for the Senate there. That's an area that we're very focused on. So there'll be a number of states where there are also these, current pro-crypto candidates who are running for higher office. We want to be supportive of them and also supportive of backfilling those seats with somebody who is also very friendly to the industry.
Last thing, real quick. You're a former commissioner at the CFTC and you've watched that agency evolve on crypto. I want your reaction to the news that we got yesterday, that the regulator approved spot crypto trading on U.S. derivatives exchanges. What's the impact of that, both on the industry and U.S. markets more broadly?
The CFTC has been pro-innovation in its mandate. And so I wasn't surprised to see this step taken that's going to allow registered exchanges to offer leveraged spot crypto transactions in the US. And we've already seen at least one of them step up and say they're going to be offering these products. I think it's great for the industry. It's great for these markets. And, these are transactions and markets and volume that are occurring offshore. It is so much better to have that in the US under federal regulators' oversight to ensure that there are proper market protections, proper consumer protections, and just to have the best market integrity really is having those markets in the US under federal regulation.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World this week. We'll be back again on Monday, and we'll see you then.